Laura Bailey wasn't invited to the original Critical Role campaign?
I think all of us are in too deep to pull out now.
Before we dive into some crazy news about the origins of Critical Role, why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help us keep videos like this one coming. YouTube is still kind of broken and the likes really help these videos, and we appreciate it. And then, let's talk some Critical Role. While a lot has been said about the origins of Critical Role and how the group came together before they began streaming their campaign every week on Geek and Sundry, a new video on the Dungeons & Dragons YouTube channel featuring the Critical Role cast has revealed a surprising fact about the original pre-stream Critical Role crew. Namely that Laura Bailey wasn't originally invited to play with them, only Travis was. It also appears that this discussion was filmed on the set of a video where Travis, Laura, and Taliesin are playing or discussing the new Heroes of the Borderlands starter set that is yet to be released, but we can dive into that later, so let's take a listen to Laura talking about her introduction to Critical Role and how she wasn't initially invited.
He didn't even ask me to join originally.
You weren't part of the original invite?
I was not. They asked you to join.
Okay.
I was like, I'm so much more of a geek than he is. Are you kidding me?
That's true, yeah.
So not only did Travis get initially invited and not Laura, but Laura also talked about how her first game with the Critical Role cast was her first ever game of any kind of D&D. Although years of doing voiceovers and role-playing video games made her kind of a natural at the RP elements of the game. With Travis saying when he showed up a little late to the first game of the campaign, Laura was already in full role-playing mode, doing her accent, engaging with everyone, and he was just floundering around with his barbarian grog.
I showed up the last, aside from Ashley, who wasn't there for the very, very first one, and you guys were in the thick of it. You were already full RP accent going. Taliesin was sitting over there
I already
like
had
the
my
Cheshire cat, smiling, confident, full of knowledge that nobody had.
We also discovered that Taliesin's job in the initial parts of Vox Machina before it became the stream was largely to act as the bumper rails to keep everyone on track as they started to learn how to play, as Taliesin was by far the most experienced TTRPG player. We also found out that voicing those role-playing video game characters can be incredibly frustrating, as Laura talked about wishing her characters could make better choices and have better dialogue in response to situations instead of being stuck with what someone else had written, which is what made role-playing in Critical Role feel so freeing and so addicting to her, as she was now playing a character where she could finally make the choices and say the words that she wanted to, and not what some producer or writer from a game studio was demanding.
It felt controlled, you know, you had these 3 bits of dialogue that you could say and you had to choose between those and you had to go on this path that it was set before you.
It was never what you wanted to say.
No,
it was never what you wanted to say. At
or
all.
like you would choose it and then they would say it in a way that you didn't mean it. Ugh. You know what I mean? And so the power to be in control of exactly what you were going to present was addictive.
But still, imagining a Critical Role where Laura Bailey never played because she wasn't initially invited seems crazy, as her characters have become some of the all-time fan favorites across the 3 campaigns. A Critical Role without Vex, Jester, or Imogen just kind of seems impossible to even fathom at this point, but had Matt and the rest of the cast not come to realize that Laura was, in her words, much more of a geek than Travis, the Critical Role as we know it could have never existed. So what do you think? Can you even imagine a Critical Role without Laura Bailey playing at the table? Let us know down in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.